This time on Rad Right Video, we prevent and repair muscle strains. Let's get started. Welcome back to Rad Right Video, the channel where you can learn something new about skateboarding 3 times a week. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we take a look at something in or around the skateboarding world. Today we're looking at muscle strains. Somebody asked this for an Ask Rad Right question, but I thought it was worth promoting to a full video just thanks to the amount of research that it takes. So let's get into it. What's the first thing you have to do? Have a balanced workout routine. One thing I found in a lot of my research was that having a certain workout that you do all the time, like if you worked out just your biceps all the time, your bicep muscle would get stronger, but the supporting muscles and everything might not. So if you were to actually use your muscles for something other than this exact motion, you'd be more likely to pull those smaller ones. So in skateboarding, what that would mean is that you're out there skating all the time, your calves, your quads, and all that are getting stronger and stronger. But what happens when you bail and you have to catch yourself a certain way and you have to run it out or something? Then you're more likely to strain one of those smaller muscles that you don't use as much. So it's important to have a consistent lower body workout routine that is going to strengthen the entire legs instead of just what just so happens to get stronger as you skate. Something else I found was vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. About 77% of people don't get enough vitamin D, and it's very important for muscles because it helps balance electrolytes and helps you synthesize new protein. So to actually build and recover muscle injuries, you definitely need to get your vitamin D. And you might get a little bit more than average because you're outside skateboarding all the time, but the amount you're getting really depends on how much skin is showing, the pigment of your skin, how much of the light's being blocked versus how much is being absorbed, and a lot of other factors like that. So making sure you get enough, potentially supplementing if you have to, would be a good way to go. But what about when you're actually at the spot ready to skate? The first thing you have to do is a little bit of warm-up cardio, and that might be different from what you or I learned in gym class where you jump straight into stretching, but that is not what people recommend these days. The first thing you want to do is get some cardio, get your blood pumping, and make sure that your muscles are ready for more intense activity. So if you had to skate to the spot or you had to ride your bike there, I have to walk across a field to get to the spot that I usually go to. That'll help get you going, but you actually need to warm up for about 20 minutes. So don't make it a habit to do first try Fridays a lot. That's a good recipe for getting hurt. Make sure your body is nice and warmed up, and then you can start stretching. It's a very important step. But what kind of stretches do you do? That's a very good question. If you read 15 articles about it, you'll get 20 different answers. But one thing I found was that eccentric stretches are usually the best, like the Nordic hamstring curl, which is what I'm showing right here. The idea is that you're actively fighting the stretch. You're not just trying to pull on your muscle to make it long. You're actually getting that muscle ready. Now, I don't see anyone actually doing this at a spot. You can't imagine you and your buddy take a break, go over to the sidewalk, and he puts his nose in your butt while you do this motion. Probably not gonna happen, but I would keep that one in the back of your mind. If you're the kind of person who gets strains all the time, maybe consider it. Otherwise, I don't think you need to go quite that far. So which stretches should you actually do? Again, that's kind of tough to say. I was in physical therapy for a while for a knee injury, and I had to do a lot of lower body exercises. And I watched a lot of different videos from famous trainers and everything, and everybody disagrees with each other. They all call each other out, and they all say that theirs is the only way that works. So it's tough to give you a final say of exactly what you should do. But what they all discourage doing is building up any kind of momentum and going too far. So if you swing your leg back and forth, it'll eventually go farther than it would have naturally gone, and that you can actually strain your muscle just by doing that. So you want to be dynamic. You want to move around and stretch a little bit further, but you don't want to force it. You don't want to yank on anything. You don't want to build momentum and throw yourself out. You just want to be pretty balanced in what you do. You can look up stretches for the specific muscles you have problems with, and hopefully that'll get you on the right track. So take those stretches that you've come up with and you've decided to use and do them before you get too heavy into your session, but also take breaks every now and then and stretch them back out again. Like we've mentioned, you might only be using specific muscles as you skate. It's important to keep them all loose and ready just in case. So make sure you do that. All right, so you've done everything right, or maybe you didn't, and you have strained a muscle. What should you do? Well, the Mayo Clinic and a lot of other trainers and physical therapists recommend the RICE system. and that's an acronym. The R stands for rest. You need to rest that strained muscle before doing any more damage to it. Your first instinct might be to try to walk it off or to stretch it out or massage it or something like that, but chances are you're just gonna do more damage to it. Don't be a hero. If you hurt yourself, take a break. You might need to take a couple of days off to make sure it has enough time to get back in shape. The I in rice stands for ice and is still a commonly recommended treatment. There are some places that are strongly against it, but most of them still recommend that you do this. What they say you do is you ice your leg or whatever muscle you sprained for about 20 minutes every hour on the first day. After that, about once every 4 hours, and then in the future, just as needed. And that should help keep down the inflammation and help promote healing. The C stands for compression. Wrap your leg up with an elastic band, and that compression will help keep down the swelling. You don't want to go too tight or you'll start to cut off blood flow, which is the last thing you want to do. So be careful with that. The E stands for elevation. Take your leg or whichever muscle, try to keep it above your heart to help keep down the swelling. If you're still having trouble with that, you can take an anti-inflammatory, but I'll be very careful with pain pills. You don't want to feel like it's better and not feel any pain and then go out and hurt it more. So be careful with that. But after a couple days, you should start feeling a bit better, and you're going to want to switch from ice to heat. That'll help promote some blood flow and get that leg loosened up more. And then you can start stretching it again. You don't want to let it sit too long. You'll end up losing some of the strength of that muscle. So try to stay on top of it, and hopefully you'll be back skating in no time. So I hope that helped. Hopefully no one here is so far gone and they constantly have sprains that they have to do that Nordic hamstring curl with their buddies. But if you do, hey, do what you gotta do so that you can stay healthy. There's nothing worse than consistently being injured and having to stay out of skateboarding for too long. So I hope that helped. For more helpful videos, here are a couple I've done recently that you can check out. Also, make sure you tap my logo on the screen right here to subscribe so you can keep learning new things about skateboarding 3 times a week. Thanks for watching.